travel isn't just about destinations. It's about the people you meet, the cultures you immerse yourself in, the stories you carry home. I'm Relebogile Mabocha, and on my travel feature, I take you on a journey beyond the guidebook. Each week, I connect with fellow travelers, insiders, and storytellers to bring you the heart of every place. Whether it's a hidden gem right here in South Africa or a dream destination abroad. Join me as we travel through conversations, memories, and inspiration. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
It's time to talk travel, and it's so lekker to welcome back Allison Foat of the Cape Town Diva blog. It feels like forever since we've had her in studio talking about her exciting travels, and it's the kind of travel that makes me green with envy in today's segment, because we're talking about going on safari, and not just any old safari. Allison, welcome back. Great to have you here again.
Thanks. Good to be back again.
And tell us, it's a very special kind of safari experience you've had.
Yes, this time, first time, river safari.
Okay.
With the Zambezi Queen Mantis, which was absolutely super interesting and really fantastic on every level.
Yep.
Because you're on the water and it almost feels like the game is coming to you. So, the Zambezi Queen is a luxury houseboat.
Yeah.
And it really does feel like a plush floating hotel. I mean, you get there by a little tender boat, you get off into a foyer, there's that warm safari welcome that everybody's singing.
Yeah.
And then you're taken upstairs, you've got your cocktail. And from then on out, usually you say 3 days, 3 nights, you are cruising up 25 kilometers up and down of a set sort of section of route of the river, which goes between Namibia and Botswana. So at first I actually thought I was going to Botswana, a bit of a fail. It's like, hold on a second. And then it was quite clear once you pop through all those immigration points, your last point that you get to the border post is Namibia. And then they take you from there onto the Queen. So your passport is stamped as you're in Namibia, yes.
Okay, good to know.
So exactly. So the Chobe Game Reserve, as you mentioned, is on the other side. And then you're kind of in that northern section where it's alongside the Caprivi, so it's that far in the northern part of Botswana.
I did a river safari in the Okavango Delta a couple of years ago.
Yes.
Very different. No cocktails being poured for me, and no butler waiting to welcome you, but the most extraordinarily beautiful experience. And
it is.
As you said, to be on the water, you feel so much closer to the game, being at that level.
You do.
And then, as you said, that sense of it coming to you, that you are really going into their world.
Yes,
there is
you
a
are.
feeling of connectedness to the surrounding that you don't have in a car.
It's a super unusual experience. I must say, I've done a few safaris, fortunately and luckily for me, but this was really unusual. Not only do you sit either on deck or in the lounge, which is the sort of hub that has the dining area and the bar, but that big space is bookended by 2 decks. One's got a pool, little exercise area,
nice.
and the other's just couches. Or you can sit inside if the weather's not so great, and there are these beautiful sliding glass doors. So you see on every side of the boat, you're seeing elephant, lion, giraffe, buffalo, extraordinary bird life, 450 species of birds, things I've never seen. So, I've never seen a kingfisher actually in action, hovering and then diving down. Fish eagles galore, that iconic quintessential African sound, the cry of the fish eagle, wakes you up, puts you to bed. It's like heaven on toast, I must tell you. And then even better is you get into these tender boats for the early morning bird watching or catch and release fishing, whatever floats your boat, pardon the pun. And then you go very close and they take you in these tiny tender boats which seat about 8 people. So it's never crushed, never crowded. And the guide cuts the engine and you edge in towards where the marshy sort of area meets the river. And honestly, I could see the lashes of the elephant. They were that close. Yeah. Or birds feeding in the early morning, herons and all sorts of interesting, the black heron umbrella bird. Fancy birds that I've never seen in my life. I was like, I'm becoming a twitcher right now. I'm going to drop 50,000 Rand on John Matham's Swarovski binoculars. And off I'm going to go. It is so inspiring. It really is such an insanely special wildlife nature experience. And you're sort of sailing up and down and you're just seeing it like closer than ever.
And 25 kilometers over 3 days, it's a very leisurely pace. It doesn't become repetitive in any way. I'm just thinking, playing devil's advocate here, I can hear a listener going, that's not a very long distance to cover, but it sounds like you saw something different with every sort of passing hour of the day.
It's a good question, and the listener that might say that would not be wrong, because it is the same landscape. Just the differentiating factors would be the different times of day, the gorgeous sunrise or the sunset, and the different animals. So, for instance, instance, there's a bay that's called Elephant Bay that always has a lot of elephants coming to drink or to play and frolic. I mean, I saw a bull elephant, just probably watched him for 10 minutes, just flicking his ears left and right in the water and slapping his trunk. It is that kind of thing that we saw. But you see them doing different things. At one point, an entire herd crossed over in front of us into the road that wasn't too deep.
Yeah.
But there was a juvenile and a little baby, and it was interesting to see how they lagered around
Yes.
it because there's so many crocs. You will not be going dipping in that river, I can tell you that for free. No. There are those little floating logs. You're like,
Everywhere you
oh,
look.
exactly. And lots of baboon, like sort of families. So obviously it's a little bit of a buffet for crocodiles, I would say. But yeah, so your wildlife scene is very different. But the landscape, obviously, it's as you're going up and down, it's kind of the same.
But there's a beauty in that, isn't
Oh,
there?
yeah.
In having the stillness to be in one place and watch it change around you. There's something
100%.
very appealing about that. Just for anybody who came in midway, we're talking about a river safari on the Zambezi Queen by Mantis. Now, I think people heard floating luxury hotel and they think exorbitantly expensive. Alison, we actually benefit in this case from SADC rates.
We do.
It's not a cheap excursion, but it's when I looked at the rates, it's at full rate, you would be paying in high season close to 15,000 Rand per person per night, but we get a much reduced rate as SADC members.
Yes, so it's 7.5K per person per night sharing, but you get everything included. Your little excursions, whether it's your bird watching or your fishing, catch and release, or you can do a village tour, it's part of their community development fund. There's lots to do. The drinks are taken care of. So it's that great sense. It's like when you book ahead on booking.com for something. You've got there, it's done and dusted.
You don't have to worry about
You check
taking
out
to
and you
wallet.
say, ciao.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry. So everything is included and the full rate is on their website. It's a very comprehensive website. And if you go onto my blog, I've added those links. So the FAQs, just hit that link and there's everything you might want to know. The exact area, how you get there, the different border posts, factoring in time, 2 to 3 hours for the queue here or the this, that.
Interesting. Okay.
And visa information is really important. So we don't obviously need a visa,
For
but
Namibia,
your requirements in your passport for Namibia, interestingly enough, is 6 clear pages. So get those ducks in a row before you go. And never overstay your welcome because they will not look kindly on you. It's really quite an infraction, so don't be doing that.
Don't ever risk it. Okay.
So just be very precise. When you're at the teeny little, it's the smallest immigration post I've ever been to in my life. It's literally a room with a very welcoming gentleman sitting behind the window, and he's very carefully says to you, so how many days and nights are you staying? And your guide will advise you to be very precise about that.
Okay.
So, just be careful.
Thanks for that heads up, because it's so easy to get lax about that, because some countries are fine with your passport being valid 3 months after you depart. Others want 6. The number of pages available, as long as there's room for a stamp, it's good enough for one. And then here you say 6 clear pages in your passport for another. So be very, very meticulous about checking those details.
Yes.
In terms of getting there from Cape Town, how did you get there? What do you need to factor into your holiday planning for getting actually physically to the boat?
So we flew Airlink, Cape Town to Vic Falls, and then we decided to stay an extra day at a place called Mbano Manor Lodge because we were able to then organize a guided tour to Vic Falls. You have to see it.
Yeah,
the bucket list, 7th wonder of the world kind of thing, which really was worth it. And then from there you take a bus trip, and then there's a van trip. So there are 2 immigration points. There's Kasane for Zimbabwe and then Kasane, and then from there you take a little boat across the river to the Namibian border post. Get the passport stamped. It's a little walk, which really is an adventure in itself, past little baobabs and what have you. You get stamped there, and from there you hop back onto the tender boat. All your luggage is already taken care of, and they scoot you over to the Zambezi Queen. Okay. And from however you organize your trip, there is always a Zambezi Queen team member to show you what to do. So you're never on your own at any border post. He speaks the language. He's like, this is what we do. We'll wait here. It's going to be X amount of minutes. But, queues can be long. Mm-hmm. It's a popular thing to do, not just the Zambezi Queen. That's just 28 passengers. But there's lots of other things going on, from safari lodges to the Chobe National Park. People are doing day trips coming through from Zim. So it's a busy little sector.
Okay,
so
so
give
do
yourself
factor that
2
in.
to 3 hours. But it's also fantastic. The you talk to other people in the lineup. It's like from other countries. It's like, where are you going? What are you doing? What did you see? How was it?
Yeah.
Because this area has 120,000 elephant, the biggest concentration in that part of Africa. which is fantastic. So you can really be guaranteed. I'm putting my head on the block here. You're guaranteed of loads of elephants, like for days, literally.
I mean, it was the most magical the whole experience of the Okavango Delta when I went there was amazing. But the elephant, and as you said, the proximity to elephants, to see them standing in the water, watch them feeding, ripping up roots, and as you said, counting the eyelashes and mapping the wrinkles on their face, it's just extraordinary. And we're so lucky to have it so close. What about malaria? Do you have to take any meds?
Not that I'm aware of. I didn't. That didn't come across my radar. But again, double check that for yourself. But everything else is pretty straightforward and cut and dried, so it's just a matter of going online, checking what you want to do, when you want to do it. There are different times when the water is higher and lower, but throughout the year you get guaranteed of this magnificent game viewing. And winter is balmy. I mean, we were in t-shirts, sunbathing on lounges. I wasn't swimming necessarily, but it's warm in the day. It really is fabulous.
So the peak season is sort of March to October, November. I can see that from their pricing brackets.
Yes.
I mean, I remember for the Okavango them saying late October is hell zone. Nobody wants to go near it. It's so hot.
Right.
So interestingly, this is one of those places where the winter season for Cape Townians is peak season.
It's quite a
so
fantastic
if you need to
lure.
escape the rain and misery
right?
outside, what a lovely thing to be able to do not far away.
Yes.
And obviously, just to go back to the malaria issue, depending on what time of year you go, how high the water is, that's going to be a factor, and where you are, where else you are going. So please ask those questions very carefully of your trusted medical professional. If I recall correctly, we definitely took malaria meds for Okavango, but we were in watery season into a sort of a swampy area, which is quite different from a very dry
fresh air, windy. It's like, it's beautiful conditions actually. So I don't think I encountered any mosquitoes. Thank goodness.
But just bear in mind, if you are tagging on an extra expedition somewhere else, it's something to think about. Alison, in terms of currency, I mean, as you said, it's one of those lovely holidays. You've paid up front, you arrive, and everything's included. So you put your wallet in the safe and forget about it. Do you even need to draw foreign currency for the trip?
No, but I always advise people to take money for tips.
For tipping,
and it's sort of 1-to-1 on the South African currency, so it's not too bad at all. And they've got a facility on board where you can change out your currency if you need to, and spoil the person that's looked after you, whether it's housekeeping or somebody you've connected with on your cuisine team. Food is excellent, by the way.
Yeah.
It really is a fine offering all round, I must say.
And in terms of the ecotourism perspective, I know people are always very careful if you're having close encounters with animal. You've got to be, obviously the guides need to know what they're doing. You need to treat this environment with respect. I would imagine at that level of travel, they've ticked all of those boxes?
They do. The guides are very, very careful. And, they know the signs. It's very easy to read an elephant. That ear does a certain thing, that head starts to go left to right, and he knows to back out. But he's, they're fairly habituated, so they're used to it, and it's a very quiet experience. The engines are very soft, and, there's hardly a noise coming from that engine. So he cuts the engine from a distance away, so it's a slight murmur of an engine, and then they just ease in with the current. And it sort of bumps against the reeds, and then you watch, and you have this little elephant movie unfolding in front of you, or whatever it is.
Now, the key thing here is to be part of that elephant movie without standing out. Alison, let's just talk about a couple of do's and don'ts before we wrap up. I have seen, and am I allowed to say it's usually Americans?
Yes.
I've seen some people going on safari trips bedecked in brightly coloured clothes that do not blend into the environment and do not lend themselves to easing quietly unnoticed by the elephants. It's hard for the elephants not to see you if you're in neon green and pink. Any recommendations on what to take with you, what to wear, do's and don'ts ahead of a trip like this?
Well, you've ticked that box. Wear your neutrals, your fabulous browns and greens and, all the rest of it. Don't leave the hot pink at home. We don't need that.
All the colour palettes that do not suit somebody with my colouring, but it's okay.
Exactly. And then, you must have an incredible pair of binoculars. Don't skimp on that, because you get to see even more fantastically. You want your sunscreen, all the rest of it, your hat, your non-slip walking shoes. Well, you're obviously not going to ever be alighting from this tender boat onto terra firma ever. Everything is from the water. Okay. But things like, as you say, don't talk too loudly. Somebody's always videoing, or just listen to the birds, watch the elephants, and you don't want to disturb them and draw unnecessary attention, as you say. You can't be standing up. You cannot certainly be wading towards them, because hello, floating logs. We don't want that happening. So it's just your basic common sense. Although having said that, we've all been on safari vehicles or on boats where people have just gotten overexcited, or, even when I said, please guys, I'm going to make a quick video, there was somebody who went, oh, look, amazing. You just have to really be circumspect and just think about the people that are with you and consider mostly the wildlife. But the guide will prompt you all the time and say, keep your voice down, please be careful, because you just got the click happening all the time. It's quite fabulous. But it's really, for the most part, it's what you kind of instinctively know what to do and what not to do.
So you say that the problem with common sense, Alison, is it's not as common as we'd like to believe it is in circumstances like this particularly.
Yes.
So thanks for that reminder. Now, just to circle back to where we started, Alison has posted on her blog all about this trip, photographs of the trip. It's very hard to do justice painting a verbal picture of what is a very visual experience. I know you've done a great job, by the way. But if you want to see the actual photos that were taken without interrupting other people's Insta reel, they're on CapeTownDiva.com. And you said the click through to booking for the Zambezi Queen is there as well.
Yes, and then go straight to their website. It's even more comprehensive. I mean, they've left no stone unturned. It's all there for your information, and delve deep.
Allison Foat.
And get booking.
Green with envy, green and neutral khaki brown with envy. Thank you very much for popping into studio to share the excitement with us. And
thanks for having me.
Once again, please check out her blog, CapeTownDiva.com.
Travel isn't just about destinations. It's about the people you meet, the cultures you immerse yourself in, the stories you carry home. I'm Relebogile Mabotja, and on my travel feature, I take you on a journey beyond the guidebook. Each week, I connect with fellow travelers, insiders, and storytellers to bring you the heart of every place, whether it's a hidden gem right here in South Africa or a dream destination abroad. Join me as we travel through conversations, memories, and inspiration. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.